As the suspense continues over who will be Delhi's next chief minister, who will the BJP choose, there's a lot else to talk about in the aftermath of the BJP's big Delhi win. On the program today, we'll take you inside the Sangh Parivar to look at not just what the next chief ministerial choice may reflect, but also what are the latest dynamics possibly between the BJP and the RSS. And is the BJP now ready to ask that one big question? After Modi, who? Will there be a second line of leadership or not? I'm Barkha Dutt, you're with the Mojo Story. Brand Modi has certainly recovered all the ground it may have lost after the June Lok Sabha election when the BJP was pulled down to below a majority. The big BJP win in Delhi has only reinforced that reality. On the other hand, Arvind Kejriwal's own future is uncertain. And there are now renewed questions about the Congress strategy. The Congress has scored zero for the third consecutive election in Delhi and has not won a single assembly election since June 2024 Lok Sabha verdict, except in partnership with the JMM in Jharkhand. In the meantime, questions persist around who might be the next chief minister of Delhi. But the larger questions are this. The RSS has been intrinsic to the recent wins by the BJP in different state elections. We take you today inside the Sangh Parivar to look at big political questions around brand Modi, brand RSS, and what might be the dynamic between those two entities. There is, of course, even as we speak, a renewed confrontation between the BJP and the opposition over the choice of the new chief election commissioner. Rahul Gandhi, as leader of the opposition, has protested that choice. But can the Congress's protestations have any effect unless it starts winning elections again? Let me welcome to the program on our newsmaker today. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay is with us. He's an author. He's a senior journalist. He spent a lifetime looking at the Sangh Parivar. He's also written a book on Modi. So really has studied the Sangh Parivar and the BJP very, very closely. Nilanjan, we're all waiting to see who the next chief minister of Delhi might be, and the next, short time we should have clarity. But even the fact that the BJP has taken this long to choose the chief minister tells you that things happen in a very different way in the BJP. You would have thought it should be quite clear. The man who beat Arvind Kejriwal in his own seat, Parvesh Verma, the son of Sahib Singh Verma, should be chief minister. But no, it's not that clear. So what does that tell us about how the BJP operates, how the Sangh operates, and who all have a say in key decisions like this?
First of all, Barkha, very thanks, for getting me on your show.
Thank you.
The very fact that we are almost a week after the verdict, and we still do not know who the chief minister is. It shows that there is a certain delay in the decision-making process within the BJP. Now, I would link it with also the fact that the BJP, there is no clarity as yet on the next BJP president. Mr. Nadda was inducted into the ministry in June last year. It has been almost 8 months since then. Yeah. And he is still continuing, and everybody knows that he is actually a temporary president just for the short period. So obviously that there is a far greater amount of consultation going on within the Sangh Parivar. Now, you would be, aware, in fact, the entire viewers would also be knowing that Mood of the Nation is a very popular brand which has come as a opinion poll survey which is done every few months. I think the time has come now for us to actually take stock of the mood within the Sangh. You and I, we have been doing it. We have been speaking for almost a year about the internal dynamics, about various statements which Mr. Mohan Bhagwat made after the verdict, whether things are very good between the BJP and the RSS, between Mr. Mohan Bhagwat personally and Mr. Modi. So I think that there is a lot which is at play which has to be seen. And as you pointed out in the intro to the program, that the RSS has been much more closely associated or involved in the assembly elections after the Lok Sabha elections in Haryana, Maharashtra, and Delhi in the sequential manner. Now, we all know, we have discussed it at length, you have also discussed it with me at length on this program, that the RSS was missing during the Lok Sabha elections to a great extent. There were
Yeah.
reasons for it. We have discussed that threadbare. Now, the point is that there is some kind of a rapprochement between the RSS and the BJP. But in this
Mm-hmm.
period, that what we are seeing, that this understanding or this agreement of once again working together, the RSS turning up for the BJP in election campaigns, has also been accompanied by the fact that Mr. Modi has played a relatively secondary role in these campaigns compared to what used to be the norm previously. Previously,
But
there
what does
used to
that
be the
tell
norm.
us? But what does that tell us? You see, if you look at the mood of the nation survey that you mentioned, I was speaking with Yashwant Deshmukh, who led that survey. His finding in that survey is if elections were held today, the BJP would win a majority on its own. His finding is that Modi has recovered whatever ground that the opposition thought he had lost when the BJP slipped below the majority. But you're absolutely right that maybe this could not have been done without the army of the RSS. The BJP changed its strategy. It has used the prime minister more sparingly in these assembly elections. But what does that tell us about the power dynamics within the Sangh is less clear, Nilanjan.
I think, Yashwant is also a very good friend, and as a professional, I really admire his work. Not just Yashwant. In fact, the bulk of us in the media, we tend to look at the RSS and the BJP as synonymous. The fact that Mr. Mohan Bhagwat and Mr. Modi have worked together right from the early 1970s, have been, fellow travelers. They are the same age, the same born in the same month, which is September 1950. Both will
Hmm.
turn 75 this year. So we know that there is a long association. So we treat them as synonymous. But they
Hmm.
are not. There is one fundamental divergence between the RSS and the BJP, especially after 2014, when Mr. Modi became the leader. The
Hmm.
RSS believes in the primacy of the organization and the ideology, not the individual.
Hmm.
The BJP under Mr. Modi has increasingly become an organization, a political party which gives primacy to the individual. Promotion of the Modi cult has been, you know, uh, unprecedented within the Sangh Parivar. It has never happened as we have seen since 2014. That is the reason as to why the RSS had kind of stayed out, had been very aloof from the Lok Sabha campaign. That
Hmm.
if it is actually a Modi guarantee, so let him guarantee a victory. So it was in a way just telling them that, look, this is what we are, this is what we are capable of.
But
Now,
you know, but let me
the big,
I'll,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah,
I'm interrupting
sure,
you. But
please. No, no,
let me argue that from the other side. I see not a synonymous relationship between the BJP and the RSS, but a perfectly codependent one. In that, the Modi has done perhaps arguably more than any BJP prime minister to further
that's,
pet issues of the Sangh Parivar, right? 370
that's
Ram
right.
Mandir being on top of the list. But
Education,
education,
saffronization of education.
but the RSS has reminded Modi that Modi alone is not enough to win elections. It's a Modi plus RSS. But you take away Modi, the RSS becomes irrelevant. You take away the RSS, Modi becomes weaker. Not irrelevant, but weaker. That's what happened in June 2024. It seems to me, not that we know for sure, that there is this kind of established codependency and the terms have been reset. It's a little bit like a marriage that goes through a tough patch, and then you have a conversation and you say, okay, you know what? We could divorce, but that's not going to be great in the long run. Let's reset the terms. Let's respect each other on these new terms.
No, I think I'll thank you, for giving a new term to understanding the dynamics within the Sangh Parivar, the codependency term that which you have introduced. I think it's a very valuable, insertion in the area of
Hmm.
journalism that between Modi and RSS. And yes, I think there has been, but there is something more also. The more one speaks to the RSS, one gets a certain sense that there is a section within the RSS which thinks that after all these years, through the Ram movement, Ram Janmabhoomi movement, through the various Hindutva campaigns, through Mr. Modi's years, a time has come when the individual is no longer as important as it was necessary, say around 2014, 15, 16, 17. That
Hmm.
somebody else also who is less, you know, a less centralizing campaign, a less one which promotes an individual, that would also work, because the centrality now is all about Hindutva, all about vicarious kind of Muslim prejudice against the towards the Muslims. Those have become fairly dominant. Wherever one hears, that
Let's
Akhirkar, the government, just one second, there's this one point which is made or heard all the time, that they may have failed in many areas, but at least they have fixed the Muslims. This fix the Muslims has become an accepted idea, and as a result of which there are sections within the RSS which feels that now a lot has been done and we do not really require a leader to take us there. We can do
well,
without Modi.
let me contest both of those formulations in that if Modi was not the face of the BJP, even though he has been used sparingly, he's there in the backdrop. The Delhi election
That's
is a very interesting election because the Delhi voter in particular is a different kind of voter. It's the national capital, it's much more urban voting population. And the Delhi voter knows that Prime Minister is not campaigning, but the Prime Minister is there and the Prime Minister is
right.
Modi. So that's point one, that even though Modi is being pulled back from the front line, whether in Haryana or in Maharashtra or in Delhi, he's there. It's not like there's
Yeah.
a different BJP leader. It's not like the leader is Amit Shah or
Yes.
Yogi Adityanath. Point one. Point
Yes.
two, the Delhi election in particular is a very intriguing election because while the BJP certainly has these figures who have made anti-Muslim comments, Ramesh Biduri who loses, Parvesh Verma himself has been, accused of anti-Muslim commentary. The BJP campaign in Delhi was not around religion at all. The BJP understood that the Delhi voter is perhaps not moved by those issues.
Right.
So I just
But
wanted your response
yeah,
to that.
no, no, no. I think there are ifs and buts on both sides. And the fact is that I do not think that there is great clarity on within the RSS over the kind of what kind of a posture exactly to adopt vis-a-vis Modi. There is a certain amount of distancing, but there is but no, not complete parting. So I think that they are testing their way, and this year is going to be actually a lot of things developments are going to take place. I think the biggest thing which is going to take place, besides of course the Delhi chief minister, which I think in any case is inconsequential, because the chief
Hmm.
minister, as we know, has very restricted and limited powers compared to other states. It is actually going to be run by the center through the office of the lieutenant governor. That is going to be the primary basis on which
Would they
governance is
would
going
they
to
would
continue.
that would they do that to their own government as well?
Well, they will actually ask the government, you do this and send this to the LG, and they'll say that, look, this is what happens, absolutely seamless if you have everybody from us. It's really going to be made into some kind of a prime example of the benefits of a double engine ki sarkar. That is how it is going to be showcased. But I think a more important test case, whether we see it in the remaining days in February or we see it in early March, is what I was telling you about earlier, the next BJP president. The identity of that leader is going to tell us that where exactly and how do we can actually start looking at the relationship between the RSS and the BJP.
One of the
Very
interesting
difficult to
things,
say, I would
yeah,
say.
and we don't know the answer to that, but one of the
No, no.
interesting things that was thrown up in the Mood of the Nation survey is who is best suited. The survey asked who is best suited to succeed the Prime Minister, Amit Shah or Yogi Adityanath. And Amit Shah was marginally ahead of Yogi Adityanath. Yogi
Hmm,
Adityanath, historically, while visibly being a Hindutva mascot, is not from an RSS background, as you know. I'm saying this for the benefit of the audience.
hmm,
When he was first made the decision to make him chief minister, I remember a BJP leader telling me that because he had high nuisance value, it was better to keep him inside the tent than outside the tent. But
hmm,
now he's grown into this sort of brand who has pan India recognition, but is
hmm,
not necessarily on the strongest wicket on his home turf because of the knock the BJP took in UP in the Lok Sabha, right?
hmm.
So, how do you look at this dimension? Is there going to be, the BJP we knew, the first avatar of the BJP, the pre Modi avatar of the BJP, had a very strong second rung leadership. So you had the Arun Jaitley, the Sushma Swaraj, the Pramod Mahajan,
Yes,
alongside Vajpayee and Advani. Now, Modi
that's right.
Shah ki BJP mein, there is no significant second leadership. Do you think that's going to change? Do you think that there is going to be now a second rung of leadership in the party?
You know, I instinctively I do not think that as long as Mr. Modi is going to be around as a supreme leader within the BJP, that there will be a very strong second in command. There will
Hmm.
be somebody like an Amit Shah who's actually draws his entire strength from Mr. Modi. I really would not know that whether Mr. Amit Shah is going to be as powerful and get the kind of support which he has today within the BJP if Mr. Modi is not around and not guiding the BJP in some form or the other. I am not very
Hmm.
sure about it. Now,
Hmm.
as far as Yogi Adityanath is concerned, yes, you are right that in 2017, when he became the chief minister, uh, Mr. Modi did not want Yogi Adityanath as chief minister. He was kind of imposed over a person who was already a kind of identified that this person could be Modi's man. There.
Hmm.
Uh, but at that point in 2017, the RSS at was still had some influence over the BJP, and it was still powerful enough to want a countervailing force to Mr. Modi at that point. Between 2017 and 2019, and then subsequently, especially after 2020 onwards, the RSS absolutely became secondary to Mr. Modi till, of course, in February 2024, that they decided that enough is enough. We need to now, start doing something, and that is when they decided to stay out of the campaign.
Hmm.
The laws in UP had more to do, this is accepted within the Sangh Parivar, within the BJP, had more to do with the fact that the choice of candidates was essentially that of the
Hmm.
central leadership. None of the names really recommended, that's what I'm told, by the UP leadership under Yogi Adityanath were actually given nominations to contest the elections. In subsequent by elections, which were left to the charge of Yogi Adityanath, the BJP has won all the by elections. Though it must be said also that traditionally the ruling party, whichever state, whichever party is the ruling party, it wins
Hmm.
by elections. That is the
Hmm.
norm. So not much. The biggest shortcoming with both Yogi Adityanath and Amit Shah is that they would not be able to, at least as of now, the positioning of theirs, their public image is such that they would not be able to get what we call as the Hindutva plus votes. The plus votes will not be with them as Mr.
Hmm.
Modi got it in 2014. Let us
Yeah.
understand that out of the 37% that the BJP 31 or 33% which the BJP had in 2014. I'm forgetting the exact number. Not all of them were Hindutva. And Hindutva on its own, the BJP score vote, which was 22, 23%, the rest of it came because of Mr. Modi's personal draw, the ability to sell the idea of Vikas and
I think that's a very important point. That's why I'm interrupting
yes,
you just to reinforce it, because I think that Modi is people vote for Prime Minister Modi led BJP for various reasons.
right.
For some it's Hindutva, but for some it's he's the best of available options. For some it might be some other reason. We want a sort of a strong leader, the strong leader syndrome that so many people have. For some it's global image, right? There are
That's it.
a host of reasons. And it's very interesting, in the same Mood of the Nation survey, when people were asked what is Modi's biggest achievement, people cited Ram Mandir in Kashi Vishwanath, but only about 15%. I don't know if we have that slide, and
Yes,
maybe it'll come
not a
up.
very high.
Oh, not a very high number. And when people were asked what is the biggest challenge, many more people spoke about price rise and unemployment. So what I'm trying
Right.
to say is, there isn't a unidimensional response from the voting public to Modi.
That's right.
It,
No, that is true. In fact, Modi, what the template which he had in 2014 is that, of course, there was the vote which came because of his advocacy of Hindutva, the very fact that he did not leave it completely. We remember the fact that he would call Rahul Gandhi Shehzade, he would call the UPA government as Delhi ki Saltanat. He would use all these names, which actually would say, that the Congress has essentially been favoring the minorities. It's actually been linked with
hmm,
all kinds of things which are bad for the nation. And definitely a more pronounced Hindu stance is what Mr. Modi had in 2014. But he also emphasized the issue of development, bringing about change. The point is that Mr. Modi emerged at a time when there was widespread disarray within the country over the way in which the UPA government in the second term functioned. That
Hmm.
is it. We cannot ignore the fact that in 2011 and 12, the India Against Corruption, the entire movement which came out on corruption, was possibly one of the biggest mass movements in this country in several.
Absolutely. Which is why one of
That,
the top three achievements in this survey is a corruption-free government. That's the perception of the people. But there's a very interesting comment from one of our regular viewers, Prasad Duvuri. He says, Barkha, the real challenge for both India and the BJP regarding the after Modi who question is to look at the condition of Gujarat as a state. And for the BJP in Gujarat, it has still managed itself in Gujarat because Modi is the PM. Now, I think this is an important question, because if you look at the recent result of civic polls, right? If you look at what's
mm,
been happening in the civic poll results, what's happening is that even where Modi is not actively the face, it is the diminishing of the Congress. It is the failure of the Congress to build an organizational machinery bottom up. That is actually also the reason that Modi keeps winning. We have
so
to
that is
acknowledge that.
that has to be acknowledged, but we also cannot ignore the fact that whether in Gujarat or whether in Rajasthan or Madhya Pradesh, all the chief ministers are essentially seen by the people as proxies of Mr. Modi, and the people believe that the state is effectively being run from Delhi. In Gujarat, I do not know if it is still there, but till the last moment, a few weeks ago when I checked it, Mr. Hasmukh Adhia, one of the most trusted bureaucrats, he had a key role within the chief minister's office. We do not know. We have been not been really able to investigate to see the composition of the chief minister's office in other BJP ruled states, whether there are bureaucrats who are actually running it or who are actually playing a very important role in governing the state. We know the kind of governance model which Mr. Modi had in Gujarat when he was the chief minister, that effectively the ministers were ministers, but the decision making bodies were actually, or the body was the chief minister's office, and then it would
Hmm.
be relayed for implementation to the various ministries. That has also
Hmm.
been the kind of model which we have seen since 2014 at the center. There have been very few union ministers who have had a strong individuality of their own. Very few, you can count on fingers.
I no, I
That
I
that is the case.
I agree with that. All I'm trying to say is that we cannot talk about what's going to happen next vis-a-vis Mr. Modi without talking about what's happening with the opposition, right?
That's
Now, if
right.
you and the question is, in particular with the Congress, right? In particular with the Congress party that looked like it was on the mend in June 2024. People still want and recognize the Congress as the principal opposition. They recognize Rahul Gandhi as that's what again the Mood of the Nation survey showed. But Rahul Gandhi seems to be trapped in a frontal ideological battle with the Sangh
Hmm.
Parivar instead of the much more low profile battle to rebuild his party's organizational machinery. And I am arguing that ideology is only one part of the story, the organization is the second part of the story.
Hmm. No, you
What do
are
you say?
absolutely right. I think we have seen Rahul Gandhi as the principal opposition leader from the Congress. From whom there are great expectations for at least 5 years. At least from 2019-20 onwards, despite the fact that he had stepped down from the post of the president in 2019. Despite that, he continues to be the most important leader. But what we have to understand is that while we have seen his fairly effectivity in able to put together a platform, an ideological position of the Congress to take on the BJP head on, but he does not have the capability or the interest in creating, running an organization, and actually once again re-establishing the grassroots network which the Congress had. I think it's time for the Congress to actually divide the road. Let Rahul Gandhi emphasize on ideological issues. Let him talk about the various issues post Bharat Jodo Abhiyan, which is been picked up. Let him do all that. But the organizational building cannot be done by Mr. Khadge also. It requires somebody who can actually travel through India
Hmm.
and do the kind of work which Amit Shah did in 2013 and 14 in Uttar Pradesh.
So the
That kind of
Congress, so
networking has to be done by the Congress.
The Congress needs its own Amit Shah.
It needs its own Amit Shah. It needs the kind of people which used to be there in the Congress at earlier times. After all, let's recall, when Indira Gandhi was the leader, when it actually revived after the defeat in 1977, and when there was a split in the Congress. Indira Gandhi was the leader at the top. She was the person who the vote catcher. But the organizational network, there were all kinds of people who played a very important role.
Yeah, and I mean, till not so long ago, even Sonia Gandhi had an Ahmed Patel. It's not
That's right.
clear who that person is. I mean, some would argue it's KC Venugopal to Rahul Gandhi, but he's not seen to be somebody who
I
takes
do.
all factions of the Congress along. Now, the Congress needs its own Amit Shah, I think, is a very important thought. But let me end with this: a politician, an individual politician, will care about his own his own legacy. So that's not just Mr. Modi. It would be anybody.
Hmm.
But the RSS has a long project. The RSS is not about an individual, as you said.
That's right.
So the RSS would be thinking about, all right, great going with Mr. Modi, but after Modi, who? After Modi, who? Because the BJP can't enter necessarily election after election. I mean, RSS will understand that they need a face if
Hmm.
Modi were not to be that face, right? So, to that extent, who do you think is emerging, or right now you see nobody on the horizon?
No, I do not think that the RSS has started looking at any individual, talking about a post-Modi phase. I think the RSS is at the moment weighing, giving greater importance to the fact, looking at further building up their ideology to ensure that this becomes the dominant ideology of the country. Just the way that it was considered to be politically correct to say that united we stand, divided we fall. That was something which you had to say. But now people do not say that. This entire thing of united we stand. United with whom? We are already united. Those who want to come
Hmm.
along, they can come along. Otherwise, you can stay out.
Hmm.
We are the so this entire majoritarian way of looking at India and the internal dynamics of it has to reach a bit more higher point. That is what the RSS would possibly want, to be able to then go into the post Modi era and then think that whether we actually need a leader or not, or we can just do with anybody who can be picked up, tried out, changed. There are many people who are there who the RSS may, right? There's
Well,
Yogi Adityanath, there's Nitin Gadkari, all kinds of people are there.
I would argue that even though Mr. Modi has been used sparingly in these assembly elections, the wins will still be credited to him,
Of
while
course, of course.
he would be insulated quite smartly from any knocks that the BJP may take.
Yeah, this is where I'm saying, the mood of the nation might be slightly different from the mood within the Sangh Parivar. We cannot ignore the mood within the Sangh Parivar because it is a very influential and a powerful organization having network in almost every professional sphere of life in India.
Finally, what would you be looking out to see as the BJP chooses not just its next chief minister for Delhi, but its next president?
Well, the first thing is that what kind of linkages does he have? What kind of a past does he have within he or she has within the party? All that has to be seen, and the person is actually going to be deciding. Whoever is chosen is going to decide that what we would be weighing that person. What framework would we be weighing beyond assessing that person who has become the president? We'd also be looking at the remaining. Ideological projects which are there. There is at the moment, I would say that even one nation, one election is an ideological project. The Waqf bill, that's an ideological project. Uh, Uniform Civil Code. So there are several, and I'm sure that the BJP is going to keep on incessantly, keep on bringing up more and more ideological programs which they would want to pursue and get it implemented and make them into, a part of Indian law.
Right. Lot to look out for. The immediate decision that the BJP has to do is to make an announcement on who will be its next chief minister. But as you said, the big one is
Okay.
who will be the next party president of the BJP. Nilanjan Mukhopadhyay, always a pleasure. Take care. Thank you. See you soon.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
It's great to see you here. Thank you for watching our work. If you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click the bell icon and subscribe to Mojo Story and support independent, robust journalism.